live streaming service. Good morning, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and well, it looks like a fogged up St. Lucie this morning. It's the closest place to the storm that I've managed to find a webcam, and one that comes with sound as well. It sounded pretty rough in this location overnight, though the storm is leaving the area now, but it's not over for everyone, and not by any means. The storm is currently centered off the coast of, it was Cape Canaveral earlier, and it's just gone a little bit further north now. So the storm is getting really close to Daytona Beach right now. That's probably the closest location to the storm, just a few miles offshore. And if you think it's bad right now, well, it could have been so much worse, particularly for those locations, Fort Pierce, Melbourne, Daytona Beach, but the storm is staying just off the coast. So, better than we were initially worrying, but still a bad situation, and I guess winds won't be the biggest factor now, but the surge will be the biggest factor of the storm. And I'll go through everywhere that's under a warning now from the National Hurricane Center at their latest advisory. It's the first thing we'll do here. Well, actually, I'll also tell you what the latest is as of 10 a.m. During the past hour, a private weather station near New Smyrna Beach reported sustained winds of 63 miles per hour and a gust of 84, and a wind gust of 71 miles an hour was reported recently near Daytona Beach. The storm's position right now is 29.1 degrees north, 80.5 west. That's 30 miles east-southeast of Daytona Beach, and it's 50 miles north of Cape Canaveral. Its maximum sustained winds are what they were at the end of last night, 120 miles per hour, and its minimum central pressure is 945 millibars. So the warnings. There's no warnings in the Bahamas anymore. That's number one. Hurricane warning is in effect for Sebastian Inlet to South Sante River. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Jupiter Inlet to Sebastian Inlet, Anclote River to Suwannee River, and north of South Sante River to Surf City. A tropical storm watch is in effect for Anna Maria Island to Anclote River. So the warnings are continuing to extend upwards, and Matthew is expected to produce total rain accumulations of 8 to 12 inches over the Atlantic coast of the United States, from central Florida to the east to eastern North Carolina, with possible isolated maximums of up to 15 inches. And this rainfall may result in flooding and flash flooding, and those particular warnings I'll read out soon. As for storm surge, this is a real concern. As I've been saying for days, it could be the biggest concern for Daytona Beach and the area around it as we're getting towards the middle of the day and tides rising. Shame we can't see much from this camera, it's so fogged up and blurred. But the storm surge for Sebastian Inlet, Florida to Edisto Beach, South Carolina, including portions of the St. Johns River, which I believe is already having issues, 7 to 11 feet of storm surge there. Edisto Beach to South Sante River, it's 4 to 6 feet. Jupiter Inlet to Sebastian Inlet, 4 to 6 feet. And South Sante River, South Carolina to Cape Fear, North Carolina, 2 to 4 feet to be expected. And I'm not sure what that was going across the screen there. It looked like a windscreen wiper, but doesn't appear to have done anything for the screen. And the wind, of course, will still be high as well in all these places. But If we look at, I'll just look at the radar now and give you sort of an indication as to who's out the woods and who isn't. We'll look at, obviously Miami is probably going to get some minor outer bands, no big issue there. Same too for Naples and Fort Myers, and Tampa's just about out of it. Fort Lauderdale's out of it pretty much. West Palm Beach is on the very edge now. Should be okay from here on in. St. Lucie, well, you can see it here. And it's going to get better in this location. Maybe one of the last significant rain bands will be coming through shortly. And then places further north, it's still in the thick of it. In Orlando, they're in a slight gap right now, it would appear, but more rain on the way, much like the band that they had a few hours ago, looking at the radar. And of course, Daytona Beach is probably going to get the worst of it very soon, if not already. Let me give you a perspective of how Florida's power grid is holding up. Who's got power and who hasn't. So in Miami-Dade, there's 7,000 without power. In Broward County, that's nearly 9,000. In Palm Beach County, it's 44,000, nearly 45. In Martin County, it's 42,000. That's half the population there, half the customers. St. Lucie County, it's 38,000. That's a quarter. In Indian River County, it's nearly 27,000. That's a half. In Brevard County, it's 174,000, which is more than half. In Volusia County, it's 122,000, which is around 60, maybe 70% of customers without power in Volusia County. 10,000 in Seminole County. Only 10 in Orange County, and the same for Osceola County. 26,000 in Flagler County, that's around half again. 11,000 in St. Johns County, that's 1/8. And those are the main areas. Putnam County as well at nearly 2,000, so around 1/10 of people without power there as well. So that's the latest in the power news. And let me try and get you some traffic as well. And I-95 is not good all the way up from Vero Beach to Daytona Beach, really. It's going to be, I don't know whether the road is closed in several places or whether it's stop-start traffic, but it's going to be pretty tough along there if you're traveling. The Florida Turnpike as well appears to be closed in some little areas, some small sections of it, either side of Orlando. Further south, it looks like it's back to normal. All points south of West Palm Beach, indeed all points south of St. Lucie actually look okay, and it's probably going to be returning back to normal there very soon. So you're watching Force 13 Live, and I guess our focus will shift further north. If you've got any questions for us whilst we're on air, we're going to be sticking around for a while. Send us a message, start your message with Force 13, as Lord Bacon Gaming has done. Isn't Northern Jacksonville going to calm the hurricane? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but Northern Jacksonville is certainly going to get the hurricane, and that's going to happen in well, let's see, maybe a few hours time. Well, probably towards the end of the day, it's going to be the worst point for Jacksonville, and particularly Jacksonville Beach, which I'm quite concerned about, because obviously there was mandatory evacuations there, I believe, and that is could be significant problems with the storm surge. And those who are worried about storm surge, I'll bring up, you won't be able to see it unfortunately, but the National Hurricane Center's prototype showing the amount of storm surge that you may see. If I can find it. Obviously, everyone's been warned about the storm surge along the coast, but let's have a look. So for the St. Lucie area, it's only going to be about, or maybe a little bit more than, between 1 and 3 feet. It's in the blue area. And then as you get further north, Fort Pierce, the Barrier Islands off the coast of it, you could be seeing 3 to 6 feet of storm surge along the very coastline, and that extends all the way northwards. At around Indian River, on the Indian River, it's going to be around the same. And for inland areas as well, I'm not sure what that river is, but at Roseland there's 2 rivers that go inland. Those 2 tributaries or rivers could get inundated. For the area near, oh, where's that? Sorry, struggling with geography here. I think it says, I don't want to say it in case it's wrong, but just north of Roseland and Orchard, it's going to be higher amounts of surge. And off the coast of Melbourne on the island as well, again, you could be seeing greater than 6 feet of storm surge there. Satellite Beach, 3 to 6 feet. South Cocoa Beach and Cocoa Beach itself, 3 to 6 feet. Same for Cape Canaveral. I'll just read out all the locations and expected surges. Titusville, 1 to 3 feet. Further north, let's see, keep going. I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time reading the text, but I think it's Eldora. I'm not sure whether that's a CL or a D. Again, 6 to 9 feet there. And then as we get towards Mission City, that could look pretty nasty. 3 to 6 feet or even more. The river going inland near Port Orange, I'm not sure the name, again 6 feet or more. And then Daytona Beach, you could be seeing 6 feet or more along the beach. And then all the way to the north beyond there as far as Flagler Beach. And north of Flagler Beach, it could be even worse for some areas with over 9 feet of storm surge. Again, I'm struggling to read the text, but for those areas north of Flagler Beach, pretty much between there and, I'm guessing, almost to the border, but a little bit better further north than that. So Jacksonville Beach south to, I think it's South Point Vedra Beach or something like that. I'm really struggling to see the letters. I do apologise, but you know, still 6 feet of flooding or storm surge flooding there. And then in the Jacksonville Beach area, again, we could be seeing 9 feet or more even. And into Jacksonville itself, you could be seeing 6 feet along the river banks. Well, not in Jacksonville itself, but a little bit further out. But in Jacksonville itself, it could still be 1 to 3 feet. Then in Georgia, it's pretty bad as well. All those river inlets could be seeing up to 6 feet, especially at the inlet points. The more further inland you are, the less storm surge flooding there will be. And as far as Myrtle Beach, you could be seeing 3 to 6 feet of storm surge. That's the latest on that. And you can see the latest webcam with what's going on. I've not taken a look at satellite imagery yet since I got here, but I'll bring up some infrared satellite imagery, and together we'll be able to see whether the storm is intensifying or weakening. What happened is that the storm was strong, very strong yesterday, and it was category 4 rightfully, but there was an eye wall replacement cycle that began, and you can sort of see it progressing here, and it's really made a mess of the storm. And now it sort of is reminding me a bit of David, really, Hurricane David of 1979, but the surge, I guess, will be higher than that. and it is paralleling the coast. That's what it's doing. It doesn't look like it's going to make a landfall anymore, which is potentially good news for those inland, though those who are under warnings don't have a party yet, if you've not already. But further north, obviously still not in the clear by any means. The hurricane is weakening. I would say that it might be struggling to be of category 3 intensity at this point, looking at it, and it will probably be downgraded to a category 2 soon. But along the coast, that means nothing really, you know. Huge amounts of storm surge is likely along the coast as we get close to high tide, which I'm led to believe is in the next couple of hours or more. And not over for Georgia and the Carolinas. Indeed, it's only just beginning over there. So whilst it's finished for southern Florida, there's still a lot of places yet that are going to receive issues. Let's go and check up on what the latest flooding warnings are. And there probably are quite a lot of them. I don't believe there's any priority messages that I need to read out, so we'll go to the flooding latest. First of all, in Florida, a flood warning is issued for central Seminole County, northern Brevard County and Volusia County, though most of Volusia County is without power. A flood warning there until 11:30. A river flood warning has been issued for the St. Johns River above Lake Harney near Geneva, likely to go above flood stage. A river flood warning has been issued for the St. Johns River at Astor and DeLand. For Astor, it's major flooding forecast. For DeLand or Deland, it's minor flooding forecast. And major flooding means that homes and businesses are at risk along the river at Astor. Unfortunately, we don't have any visuals of what's happening there, unfortunately. And just the same information there. The flood warning is cancelled for the Alafia River at Lithia, the Peace River at Zolfo Springs and Arcadia, and Horse Creek near Arcadia. And that is the latest in Florida. At least central Florida. I'm not sure about elsewhere, but looking further north, there's obviously lots of flash flood watches in effect for huge parts of the Carolinas and Georgia. So let's read some out here. Flash flood watch continues until late Saturday night for portions of southeast Georgia, Bullock, Chandler, coastal Bryan, coastal Chatham, coastal Liberty, coastal McIntosh, Effingham, Evans, inland Bryan, inland Chatham, inland Liberty, inland McIntosh, Jenkins, Long, Screven and Tatnall. In southeast South Carolina, it's Allendale, Beaufort, Charleston, coastal Colleton, coastal Jasper, Dorchester, Hampton, inland Berkeley, inland Colleton, inland Jasper and tidal Berkeley. That's all flash flood watches, and obviously for flash flooding, it can occur quickly, especially in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Be prepared for the possibility of widespread street flooding and flooded properties, especially in downtown Charleston. Again, excessive rainfall and more flash flood watches for the following. I wish they put it all in one message, but never mind. In southeastern North Carolina, it's Bladen, Brunswick, New Hanover, Pender, Columbus, and Robeson. In northeastern South Carolina, it's Georgetown, Horry, Darlington, Dillon, Florence, Marion, Marlborough, and Williamsburg until Sunday afternoon. And also, again, another one for central Georgia, east central Georgia, and southeast Georgia. It's Montgomery and Wheeler, Emmanuel and Troutland, and Toombs counties until Saturday evening. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 3 inches possible. And then there's yet more. Last one, I promise. Flash flood watch for more parts of Georgia and South Carolina. In east central Georgia, it's Burke. In central South Carolina, it's Aiken, Bamberg, Barnwell, Calhoun, Chesterfield, Clarendon, Fairfield, Kershaw, Lancaster, Lee, Lexington, Orangeburg, Richland, and Sumter. So, flash flood watches for all of those areas. I'll answer your questions in a minute, but I'm just going to take a short moment here. Okay, so let's get on to some questions. As you can hear in the background, the latest from St. Lucie. As you can see, it's blurred. I'm not sure if, I doubt it's poor resolution. It looks like you can count the pixels, but I'm pretty sure it's blur on the camera lens, unfortunately. But I just wanted to get the sound in the background for everyone, just to get sort of a flavour of what's going on. Doesn't sound half as loud as it was last night, and they're receiving tropical storm force winds. Okay, let's get at some questions. Start your message with Force 13. Is Matthew intensifying? If so, what indicators lead you to believe that? Well, it doesn't look like it's intensifying, but it may be maintaining intensity, and Category 3 right now. How badly is the hurricane hitting Florida? Well, a lot of people are losing power, that's for sure. I've heard reports of flooding. I don't know in actual damage. I guess we'll find out in due course. Will Matthew's eye wall strengthen because it's off the coast? Always a possibility, but based on what it's been doing so far, I would say it's unlikely, not because of the sea surface temperatures, but because wind shear is on the increase. I checked it before, and wind shear is sort of marginal right now, and it's going to get worse for the storm. Final Cut TV says boats are sinking and getting damaged in Sanford, which is 10 miles from me. That's interesting to know. And more questions. What category is it? Category 3. And I'm just looking at anything else. You may remember earlier this morning there were 100-mile-an-hour gusts along the coast of Cape Canaveral. I don't believe those are occurring anymore. Lord Bacon Gaming says Jacksonville's cold waters will calm the hurricane? Question mark, I assume. Well, not necessarily. I don't think it will be the waters that will do that. But if you're talking about a local perspective and microclimates, I'm not sure I could be qualified to answer that question for Jacksonville. But surge could be 1 to 3 feet. Winds could be into tropical storm force. Yes, we're still watching, and there could be potential hurricane force conditions depending on how close the storm does get. Joseph says possible sinkholes. Never thought of that, but that could be a possibility, I suppose, which comes with the territory of heavy rainfall. I didn't mention New Brunswick at any point, I don't believe. And Polk County's in the clear now, question mark. Very nearly. It won't get any worse, that's for sure. It will get better, I should imagine. The worst conditions will have already been felt in Polk County, and things will be getting better there. And Deltona getting worse, yes, that's quite likely right now, and the worst part will be felt in Deltona probably in about 2 or 3 hours. So I guess we're just listening to hear from any news from the locations along the coast near Daytona Beach and beyond. So news from Indian River, bridges and roads are now open, and from Reuters, Hurricane Matthew's death toll in Haiti has risen to 572. That's the latest from Haiti. And also wind gusts are near hurricane force winds along the coast of Florida, 40 to 45 miles an hour further inland over eastern counties, according to the National Weather Service. Jacksonville And that is the latest. You can follow Force13 on Facebook and Twitter, search Force13 all in text, or you can add Fool13 on Skype, that's FOOL13, if you'd like to converse with me at any time, and to join our chat room as well. We always discuss the latest in the storms there. Someone wants to know if California is getting earthquakes. Well, I am not sure about that. I did hear rumblings that that was the case, but I don't believe so. But I don't know. I've not really checked. I couldn't tell you right now. As you may imagine, our attention is focused on the storm. But if you want to have a quick look at earthquakes, all that's been reported so far is a magnitude 2.6, which occurred near Julian, California. That was just a few hours ago. Not even that, it was just 40 minutes ago. Only small, 2.6 would have been felt. And a 2.9 occurred near Seal Beach, California. That's the phone earlier today. Earlier last night, rather. But earthquake's pretty quiet. People ask the strangest of questions. So, there's the latest webcam from St. Lucie, and again I apologise for not being able to see much, but it's the best one I can find that's closest to the storm, and there aren't really any further north, not any that are online at the very least. So we'll be continuing the coverage and keep an eye on everything. Let's see, National Weather Service Charleston, this was a while ago, saying there's an isolated risk of tornadoes in coastal areas on Friday and Saturday. That is indeed the case. No ideas about tornadoes yet, certainly no reports, I don't believe, or any warnings that have gone out, or even watches, which is what happened during Hermine, of course. There were tornado watches that went into effect and a few warnings along the central part of Florida. Right now, let me just bring you up to speed again with the warnings, and I'll read them out city by city. So, West Palm Beach is no longer in a warning area. That's gone, and all points south of West Palm Beach, no warnings, you're in the clear. Sarasota, southwards on the west coast, likewise in the clear. Bradenton is the southernmost extent of the tropical storm watch zone, and extends to Tampa and the rest of the county. And then on the east, tropical storm warning for Fort Pierce even, and St. Lucie, which is where this webcam is, in Sebring, in Lakeland, in Wildwood, in Ocala, in Gainesville, in Cedar Key, in Crystal River, in Brooksville, and in Newport Richey. All tropical storm warnings there. And further north, tropical storm warnings in Lake City and in Waycross in Georgia. And further north we'll get to those, but hurricane warnings in effect for Palm Bay, Melbourne, Orlando, Titusville, Sanford, Deltona, Daytona Beach. Hurricane warnings. Okeechobee under tropical storm warning. Jacksonville, a hurricane warning. Hinesville and Savannah in Georgia, a hurricane warning. Further north and inland you've got Vidalia, which is under a tropical storm warning, as is Statesboro, Sylvania, Allendale, Walterboro, and Somerville. Along the coast, hurricane warnings for Beaufort, for Charleston, and for Moncks Corner, I believe it is. And further northeast, tropical storm warnings for more locations: Kingstree, Georgetown, I believe, Conway, Myrtle Beach, Southport, Wilmington, and Burgore. Sorry if I misread any of those, because the text is extremely small and it's very difficult to read. So, Indian River County has issued an all clear residents can return to their homes. That's the latest that I've got from someone who's giving me information. Report any damage in Indian River County to the following phone numbers: 772-226-4000 or 772-567-2154. And you're up to speed, I believe, with the storm, and we'll take some more questions. I live in Lakeland. Why are we on a warning? It's way past us. Well, the storm might be way past you, but warnings are still in effect because tropical storm conditions can still be felt in that region, and that's what they're warning you about. But it will be going away pretty soon in the next few hours, and maybe the warnings will be lifted. I'm not going to answer questions about whether Matthew will be retired. I don't think it's right to do so at this point. Is this hurricane going to be strengthening any, or is it now fully on the decline? There might be a chance of potential strengthening, but it looks to me as though it will be on a slow and steady decline over the next few days. That's all I can say about that, really. Can never rule out some unanticipated strengthening, but it wouldn't appear as though it is going to do so. If you're wondering about Nicole, if anyone is wondering about Nicole, I'm certainly not, but I'll bring you the information on Nicole. It's got 100 mile an hour winds and a pressure of 970 millibars. It's a category 2 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, and it could affect Bermuda by midweek next week. That's really all there is to say on Nicole. But for Matthew, let's not forget the threat to Florida may not be over in southern Florida, because the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center says that it will still be a tropical storm on Wednesday and will be approaching the northernmost Bahamas again from the northeast, moving to the southwest, and could affect southern Florida again. That time, I wouldn't expect it would be for serious hurricane conditions, but for potential flooding rains. So we'll keep you up to date on that throughout the coming days, but obviously that's not the area of concern right now. The main area of concern, for me at least, is Daytona Beach and the areas around that, who are going to get a massive storm surge in the coming hours, 9 feet perhaps or more, even further north of that as well. And I don't really know what to expect in terms of damage reports there, or flooding, but it doesn't sound good. There's Port St. Lucie, looking like it's getting a little bit brighter there through all that fog. That is on the camera lens, and it's the best view that we've got at the moment, I'm afraid. We've got sound as well with it, but I can't find anything out of anywhere further north. And more information that I'm being given, thanks for that, from our text correspondents, sending us messages. Evacuees seeking refuge from Hurricane Matthew should call South Carolina hotline. Obviously in South Carolina, I believe that is SC for South Carolina and nothing else. 1-866-246-0133 to be directed to the nearest open shelter. Matthew remains a dangerous storm. If you're in the hurricane warning zone, take it seriously. Just because it's not going to make landfall doesn't mean that it's not going to cause huge problems. And it might not necessarily be in the winds, but it would be with the storm surge. Just me on my own for this hour, and all bridges in St. Johns County are closed due to the severe weather. Please use caution. All bridges in St. Johns County are closed. That's the latest out of that region. And let's see if we've got any more questions. Let's see. Start at the beginning. if this storm follows the 5-day forecast, is there a chance it will come back to Florida? Well, I sort of covered that, and the answer there is yes. Joshua says, at this point, what is the main cause of Matthew weakening since it won't make landfall, and how does that affect it? Well, right now, overnight, it was an eye wall replacement cycle, where the inner eye wall decided it wanted to let go and the outer eye wall took over, because it had two eye walls, remember, when it was passing close to the Bahamas. So it means that the eye wall is sort of over a wider area. So along the coast north of Cape Canaveral, there's going to be some really strong winds occurring now, maybe gusting to 100 miles per hour. Precautionary, we've got something from Brevard here. Precautionary boil water notice issued for Barrier Island due to service interruption. That's from the city of Melbourne. Maybe not from the city of Melbourne, but in Brevard County. Precautionary boil water notice issued for Barrier Island. That's some news there. So as far as the storm potentially weakening, it's probably going to be caused by higher amounts of wind shear, which is what weakens storms generally. And as the storm continues to the north, it will slowly disintegrate, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Take it seriously in the hurricane warning zone. Let's see. Abdullah wants to know whether typhoon or tropical storm air will become a typhoon. That's in the Western Pacific. It is causing inclement weather to the Philippines right now. I don't actually know. I've not been following that storm for some time. Yeah, the storm's... Oh, it's right near China now. Shows you how much I know. So it could pop up into a typhoon briefly, as it stalls off the coast of China, not too far from Hong Kong, and then off towards the southwest and weakening. That's what it looks like at the moment. I've been so out of the loop with what's been going on over on the other side of the Pacific for obvious reasons, whilst we've been covering Matthew. This is Force 13 live. 10:37 is the time. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm here right now. No one else is here with me. It's just myself, and I'm not sure what else we've got in terms of questions. There was one. When does it look like the last bands will come through the Orlando area? Well, I can say it's not going to be yet. It will be a few hours, probably in the afternoon, and maybe even towards the evening that Orlando will see the last of the storm. The west part of the eye is weak and expecting tops of 100 miles an hour in Daytona, says Final Cut TV. Yes, quite possibly. I don't believe Cape Canaveral got anything more than 100 miles an hour, unless the storm decides to swing inland, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Then, yeah, you're looking at that sort of wind speed or gust. So, Barbara Mackey wants to know, what is the wind speed in Merritt Island? I will get that information to you. Just bear with me on that, and I will let you know. So that's near Cape Canaveral, so I'm guessing the wind speeds would have been pretty high there. I'm not sure for certain, probably to hurricane force. I couldn't speculate any further at this point. Some more news, I believe, just from South Carolina, reiterating, leave now if you're in an evacuation zone. Call the emergency hotline 1-866-246-0133 for info on the nearest shelter. That's out of South Carolina. Yeah, the radar imagery, some nasty stuff coming into Jacksonville right now, by the way. And also some more stuff headed towards the Gainesville and Ocala area at this time, it would appear. And there's a tornado warning in effect right now. The first tornado warning from the hurricane for northern Nassau County and southeastern Camden County. Tornado warning. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles east of Kings Bay Base, moving southwest at 60 miles per hour. This dangerous storm will be near Fernandina Beach and Kings Bay Base at around 10:45, which is in 5 minutes. St. Mary's and Yulee at around 10:50. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Cumberland Island. So if you're in those areas, take cover now. That's a tornado warning north of Jacksonville. Take cover now. And we were going to get on to some more questions just there. How does wind shear cause the storm to weaken? Well, wind shear is a storm's worst enemy. Low amounts of wind shear, high amounts of wind shear interferes with a storm's thunderstorm activity, and can sort of it can sort of cut off the top of a storm, push it away, blow it over, and it's difficult for me to explain at this early hour, but wind shear is effectively really bad news for a storm if it's in high amounts. It's never a good thing, and wind shear is on the increase. So I just want to reiterate that tornado warning, because that's very important, urgent even. A tornado warning for northern Nassau County and southeastern Camden County. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles east of Kings Bay Base, moving southwest at 60 miles per hour, and it may cause flying debris, which will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Fernandina Beach and Kings Bay Base at around 10:45, 3 minutes. St. Mary's and Yulee at around 10:50, that's in 8 minutes. Take cover if you're in those areas right now. And whilst I was getting there, I was going to get the observations from Merritt Island, if there are any. And I'm just waiting, just going to see if we can get any here. It's taking me a while. I think the closest location to Merritt Island is Trident Pier, and they're right now they're recording 40-mile-an-hour winds, and earlier today they recorded not very high winds actually. It's been consistently tropical storm force winds since around 3:30 this morning. The highest wind they got there was around 50 miles per hour, but the gusts were much higher, towards 70, 75 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center will be coming out with their full advisory shortly, and we'll let you know what their latest is. The track will change as well, the track forecast, and we'll see whether they're still as confident as they were about the storm moving out to sea. Well, not out to sea, but staying off the coast of Florida. We will continue to update you. I don't know how long today we're going to stay on the air, but we're going to be here for some time yet. I'm just going to take a short moment. If you've got any questions to send to us, start your message with Force 13, and I'll get back to you in just a minute. Force13 Live. The webcam is from St. Lucie, the area on St. Lucie, the river. And you can't see much there, I'm afraid, because of the blurred up screen, camera lens. But there we are. And we'll see if we can get another shot for you at some point too. I'll try that now and we'll see. There's the latest satellite imagery. What's the storm been doing? We've got a better picture for you here from Fort Pierce. That's what it's looking like there right now. As you can see, a lot of people are out and about already, even though the warnings haven't been lifted there yet, I don't believe. So that's what it looks like at Fort Pierce right now. Still a bit windy by the looks of things, and there seems to be some sort of water mark maybe further down on that pier. Maybe the waters got that high last night, I'm not sure. You can sort of make out a darker area along that pathway. Whether that might have been a high water mark or not, I don't know. But interesting to note. So that's the latest there from Fort Pierce. And let's see if there's any more questions. Just got to confirm whether they're in a warning or not. Yeah, they're still, yes, they're still under a tropical storm warning. So people are looking way too casual down there, in my opinion. The storm is slowly beginning to leave the area. And who knows, warnings may be lifted at the next National Hurricane Center update for all I know. But until you get the all clear, you know, it's a little bit silly to be going out like that. Let's see what questions we have. Will it make landfall on the coast? Well, depends what coast. Whether it's going to be the Florida coast is uncertain, to say the least. But I'd suggest maybe not. Where are we streaming this? Well, there's Florida. That's what it looks like right now. I myself, coming out of the UK, I've been here tracking the storm for 4 days. I've been talking for my 53rd hour of actual presenting to you during the storm, and I believe this is something like the 95th or 94th hour, something like that, of the stream. We will continue to stream. And Final Cut TV says, seems like the more north Matthew goes, the more offshore he seems to go as well. Well, we'll wait and see on that one. You might be right, but it could still veer towards land, and that's why we have a cone of uncertainty. St. John's County EOC, I'm not sure what that stands for. I'm guessing something to do with emergency centre or something. St. John's County EOC is experiencing a temporary phone outage. It might be important information for you to learn there. St. John's County EOC experiencing a temporary phone outage. So there's the latest from Fort Pierce at 10:48, and we'll bring you any more news. Obviously that tornado warning that was in effect is still in effect for those areas, for what is it, Nassau County and Camden County. And I'm just waiting on more information right now, and of course the National Hurricane Center will update at any time, probably on the hour. There is also a special marine warning for an area off the coast of Savannah, Georgia. That could develop into something soon if it moves towards the coast, which I believe it is, so we'll keep you up to date on that one as well. But to reiterate, that tornado warning for northern Nassau County and southeastern Camden County until 11 AM. And a dangerous storm has just passed Fernandina Beach and Kings Bay Base, and will be at St Mary's and Ely around now. Take cover if you're there. We won't know for a little while whether there are any tornadoes confirmed, but if we do hear of that, we will let you know. In the next hour we'll have more from the latest and any breaking news and all that, and the latest in the power outage situation too. But right now there's been no reports of tornadoes in Florida so far, and we'll keep you up to date if there are. Not much else for me to say at this point, but the storm is continuing towards the north. National Hurricane Center's update is due at any time, and we will let you know when that comes out and what they say. And until then, more stuff coming through. Clay County, now is the time to move to a shelter, they say. There's still room at the 4 shelters in Clay County. Call 904-284-7703 now for details on that. That's in Clay County. At the start of the next hour I'll reiterate all the warnings that are in effect, but at the moment we're just waiting for the National Hurricane Center's update. And you can see maybe things starting to get a little bit brighter over there at Fort Pierce. And I think some warnings will be lifted. But until they are for your location, common sense must prevail, and don't do anything silly. I think these people are sailing close to the wind, let's say, in being out so casually. But there we are. 10:52 is the time on the East Coast, and we'll let you know more as we get it. Might be sounding like a broken record at this point. The storm on the radar is pretty much, I have to say, making its closest approach to Daytona Beach now, it would appear. It is virtually making its closest approach to Daytona Beach as we speak, and it will have passed its closest approach in about, call it an hour maximum on that one. But Daytona Beach, closest approach right now. Palm Coast, its closest approach could be about an hour or two. St. Augustine, 2 or 3 hours. Jacksonville, maybe 4, 5 or 6 hours, depending on how fast the storm wants to move. It's still a significant, a strong hurricane, and winds were 120 miles an hour, and we'll be waiting on the next update. I've just been given a video showing what appears to be a water spout from, not sure whether it was Florida or Jamaica, but what appears to be a water spout that occurred there on a video, obviously some time ago if it was in Jamaica, but that's interesting to note. This storm can produce tornadoes, and it may well be producing one right now. The tornado warning remains in effect for a few more minutes, and until it's passed, we don't really know what's going on in northern Nassau County and southeastern Camden County, which is under that tornado warning right now. Some rough weather going through Jacksonville at this time, and also Daytona Beach is going to be getting the thick end of the storm right now. Just holding out here for the National Hurricane Center's update, as I keep saying, and it will change its forecast track, but at the moment it doesn't appear like it's going to be coming out yet. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with the latest in 6 minutes time. This is Force 13 Live. Stay tuned, we'll have more after this. And the National Hurricane Center's update has just come out, so we were going to be back shortly, but let me just read this. The hurricane warning has been extended northeastward to Surf City, North Carolina, now under a hurricane warning. The hurricane warning from Sebastian Inlet to Cocoa Beach has been changed to a tropical storm warning. The tropical storm warning south of Sebastian Inlet has been discontinued. A tropical storm warning has been issued from north of Surf City to Duck, North Carolina, including the Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds. A hurricane watch has been issued from Surf City to Cape Lookout, North Carolina. The tropical storm warning and tropical storm watch across the whole west coast of Florida has been discontinued. Latest intensity of the storm remains at 120 miles an hour with a 30 nautical mile wide eye. Gradual weakening anticipated over the next few hours. But it's still a major Category 3 hurricane. Stay tuned.